Patience is often misunderstood as something a person either has or lacks. Some seem naturally calm in the face of delay, while others feel frustrated the moment things don't move quickly. But patience is not something fixed. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed with awareness and practice. This is especially important in a world that moves quickly. Technology has made many things immediate, like messages, information, even entertainment. As a result, waiting has become uncomfortable. Delays feel unnecessary. Progress that takes time can feel like failure. This environment conditions people to expect speed in every area of life. Impatience then becomes a habit. The problem is not just the feeling itself, but the effect it has. Impatience adds stress to situations that are already out of one's control. It turns small inconveniences like traffic delays or long lines into sources of frustration. It can also affect bigger areas of life, such as work, fitness, and relationships, where meaningful progress naturally takes time. In many cases, impatience leaves people to react instead of respond. Decisions are rushed, effort is abandoned too early, conversations become strained because there's little room for understanding. Over time, this pattern can create a sense of constant pressure, as though everything must happen faster than it realistically can. Patience offers a different approach. It doesn't remove the desire for progress, but it changes how a person relates to time. Instead of resisting delays, patience allows space for them. Instead of forcing outcomes, it focuses on steady effort. Building patience often begins with small, everyday moments. Situations like waiting in traffic or standing in line are common, yet they provide regular opportunities to observe one's reactions. These moments are typically filled with tension, but they can be approached differently by acknowledging that certain situations are outside of personal control. It becomes easier to shift focus. A delay no longer has to feel like a problem. It can simply become part of your day. This shift may seem minor, but it is where patience begins to develop. The same principle applies to longer-term goals. In areas such as health, career, or personal growth, results rarely appear immediately. Progress tends to be gradual and often invisible at first. When expectations are set too high or timelines are too short, frustration builds quickly. Patience allows individuals to stay committed during these slower phases, understanding that consistent effort produces results over time. Relationships also require patience. Misunderstandings, differences in perspective, and emotional responses cannot always be resolved instantly. Taking time to listen, reflect, and respond thoughtfully can strengthen connection. Without patience, communication often becomes reactive, which can create unnecessary conflict. Another important aspect of patience is the ability to focus on what can be controlled. External circumstances, timelines, and the behavior of others are often unpredictable. However, personal actions, effort, and mindset remain within reach. By redirecting attention towards these areas, the need to control everything else begins to fade. Developing patience also involves creating space between reaction and response. A brief pause before speaking, deciding, or acting can make a significant difference. This pause allows for clearer thinking and reduces the likelihood of impulsive behavior. Over time, these small moments of restraint build a more measured and calm approach to challenges. Patience doesn't mean passivity or lack of ambition. It means moving forward without unnecessary resistance. It allows progress to unfold at a natural pace while maintaining consistent effort. In a fast-moving world, choosing patience can feel unnatural at first. However, it creates a different experience of life, one that is less rushed, less reactive, and more steady. The goal is not perfection, but awareness. Recognizing moments of impatience and choosing a different response is enough to begin. With time and repetition, patience becomes less an effort and more of a habit. Hope is often misunderstood. Many people only hang on to hope when there's clarity, a clear plan, a guaranteed outcome, confident sense of how things will turn out. But most of life doesn't offer certainty. It offers moments of decision inside fog, effort without assurance, and movement without a visible finish line. In those moments, hope doesn't disappear, it changes shape. Hope without certainty is quieter because it doesn't announce itself with confidence or promises. It exists as a choice, the decision to keep moving even when answers are incomplete. This kind of hope isn't fueled by optimism alone, it's fueled by resilience, by the belief that direction matters even when the path is unclear. Modern life consists of people demanding certainty before acting, proof before commitment, guarantees before effort. But waiting for certainty often becomes a reason to stay stuck. Growth rarely begins with assurance. It begins with trust, not in outcomes, but in the ability to adapt, learn, and respond as life unfolds. Many people struggle in seasons where nothing feels settled. Careers feel unstable, relationships evolve, identities get challenged. The future feels less predictable than it once did. In these moments, hope can feel fragile. But fragile doesn't mean weak, it means alive. Hope without certainty doesn't deny difficulty. It doesn't ignore risk, pain, or disappointment. Instead, it acknowledges them and moves forward anyways. It says, I don't know how this ends, but I know I can take the next step. That mindset creates momentum where paralysis once lived. This kind of hope is often built through experience. People who've survived uncertainty before learn something important. Clarity often comes after movement, not before. Decisions refine direction. Action creates feedback. Waiting for confidence delays growth. Hope without certainty also requires letting go of control. Control promises safety, but it also limits possibility. When everything must be predictable, potential narrows. Life expands when people allow room for surprise, not reckless risk, but openness to outcomes they couldn't plan. There is strength in choosing effort without guarantees, in continuing to care even when results are uncertain, in showing up without knowing if it will be rewarded. This form of hope builds character more than comfort ever could. It teaches patience, humility, and trust in process. Importantly, hope without certainty is not passive. It doesn't mean waiting for things to improve on their own. It means participating fully in the present while releasing the need to control the future. It's the discipline of doing what you can today and letting tomorrow take shape in time. Many underestimate how much courage this takes. It's easier to commit when success feels likely. It's harder to commit when outcomes are unknown. Yet the most meaningful lives are often shaped during these uncertain stretches, when people act from values rather than guarantees. Hope also becomes steadier when it's grounded internally rather than externally. When hope depends entirely on circumstances, it rises and falls unpredictably. When it's anchored in self-trust, trust in effort, learning, and adaptability, it remains intact even when plans change. Uncertainty does not mean absence of direction. It means direction is still forming. Hope is the willingness to walk forward while it does. You don't need to know how everything will work out to keep going. You only need enough belief to take the next honest step. That's often how clarity is earned, not through certainty, but through movement. Hope without certainty is not naive, it's realistic. It reflects how life actually works. And for those willing to carry it, it becomes a quiet, steady force. guiding forward even when the path cannot yet be seen. Kindness is often spoken as something we give to others, like a gesture, a word, a moment of patience when it would be easier to rush or judge. And while kindness towards others matters deeply, it's often the kindness we extend to ourselves that determines how we move through the world. Most people are far harder on themselves than they would ever be on someone they care. They replay mistakes long after the moment has passed. They criticize their own efforts, question their worth, and measure themselves by impossible standards. In doing so, they forget that growth was never meant to be harsh, it was meant to be human. Being kind to yourself does not mean lowering expectations or avoiding responsibility. It means recognizing effort, even when the outcome falls short. It means allowing room to learn without turning every misstep into a verdict on your character. Self-kindness is not indulgence, it is sustainability. We understand this instinctively when it comes to others. When someone we care about struggles, we offer understanding. We remind them that progress takes time. We encourage them to keep going. Rarely do we tell them they are broken or unworthy because they stumbled. Yet internally, many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak out loud to anyone else. Kindness toward yourself begins with awareness. It starts by noticing the tone of your inner voice and asking whether it's helping or harming. Judgment rarely produces growth. Compassion paired with honesty does. When you treat yourself with kindness, you create an environment where improvement feels possible rather than overwhelming. This doesn't mean ignoring difficult truths. Kindness can be firm. It can acknowledge what needs to change without turning that realization into self-attack. You can hold yourself accountable while still respecting your own humanity. In fact, accountability rooted in kindness is far more effective than discipline rooted in shame. The way you treat yourself in private shapes how you show up in public. When you practice self-kindness, patience naturally extends outward. You become more understanding of others' struggles because you have learned to honor your own. Kindness becomes less of an effort and more of a reflection of how you live. There will be days when kindness feels difficult, especially after disappointment, failure, or unmet expectations. Those are the moments when it matters most. Kindness in those moments is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about allowing yourself to be imperfect without withdrawing care. Life moves quickly. It rarely pauses to let you catch up. Being kind to yourself is a way of slowing down internally, of reminding yourself that progress is not erased by a single hard day. It's a way of choosing patience over pressure, understanding over criticism. Kindness does not make you weaker, it makes you steadier. It allows you to continue rather than collapse. It keeps you engaged with your own growth instead of turning away from it. And perhaps most importantly, kindness reminds you that you are worthy of the same care you so freely offer others. Not because you have everything figured out, but because you're still trying. When kindness becomes part of how you treat yourself, the world feels less demanding and more navigable. You begin to move forward not through force, but through respect. And in that quiet shift, everything changes. Suffering is something every one of us knows, even if we don't always talk about it. Sometimes it arrives from the outside, like a loss, a setback, a moment that breaks our routine or our plans. But other times, suffering is something we place on ourselves without even realizing it, through our expectations, through our fears, through the pressure we put on our own shoulders to be perfect, to never fail, and to never struggle. And the hardest part is that the suffering we create inside of ourselves often hurts more than the suffering life puts in front of us. We replay mistakes long after they're over. We judge ourselves for not being enough. We carry guilt, shame, and doubt even when no one asked us to. We hold on to stories that make us smaller, weaker, and more afraid. So often our suffering comes from the belief that we should be further ahead, or stronger, or more confident, or already healed. We think, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't be struggling. I should have figured this out by now. But suffering isn't a sign that you're failing. It's just a sign that you are human. Because every person, no matter how strong, how successful or confident, has moments when the weight feels too heavy. Moments when the mind turns against itself. Moments when the suffering inside becomes louder than anything on the outside. A lot of the suffering we experience isn't because life is cruel. It's because we're cruel to ourselves. Because we demand perfection. We hide our emotions. We pretend we're okay when we're hurting. We compare our lives to others and punish ourselves when we don't match up. We expect growth to be straight, clean, and smooth. And when it isn't, we blame ourselves. But suffering doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Because suffering is part of the path. It's a signal, not a sentence. The goal in life is not to avoid suffering because none of us can. The goal is to understand it, learn from it, to stop adding to it. Because the moment you stop fighting your pain, the moment you stop judging it, the moment you stop believing you shouldn't feel this way, something powerful happens. The suffering begins to shift. You realize that pain is temporary, that emotions rise and fall, that thoughts are not facts, that the past cannot be changed, but it can be released, that you can breathe again, even in the middle of the storm. Overcoming suffering doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It doesn't mean forcing positivity. It doesn't mean acting strong when you feel anything but strong. Overcoming suffering begins with acceptance. This is what I'm feeling, and it's okay to feel it. From there, suffering begins to lighter. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you stop carrying it alone. You stop blaming yourself. You stop fighting what already is. You stop believing that hurting makes you weak. You start to understand that pain is temporary, but the lessons inside it can last a lifetime. Suffering can teach you patience. It can teach you compassion for yourself and for others. It can teach you how to slow down, to listen, to heal, and it can reveal strength you didn't know you had. And maybe the most important thing suffering can teach you is that you're not alone. No matter what you're carrying, someone else has walked through it. No matter how dark it feels, someone else has found the light on the other side. No matter how heavy the weight seems, you were never meant to hold it by yourself. Life isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning that pain doesn't control you. It doesn't define you. It doesn't decide your future. Suffering may be a part of your story, but it's never the whole story. And even if you brought some of it onto yourself, even if you held on to something longer than you should have, even if you've been hard on yourself for too long, you can still set it down. You can still rise, and you can still heal. This moment is not the end of anything. It's simply the beginning of understanding your own strength. Suffering is temporary. You're not broken, and you're not alone. There's a phrase making the rounds lately. It's called therapy bro summer. And at first it might sound like a joke, like another internet trend. But behind it is something deeply real. It's about men, fathers, brothers, sons, athletes, leaders, finally giving themselves permission to step into a new kind of strength. For generations, men have been told the same story. Don't cry. Don't talk about it. Don't be weak. We've been taught that toughness means silence, that masculinity means carrying the weight alone. And while resilience is powerful, there's a cost to pretending we don't feel pain. And that cost is broken relationships, anger that explodes out of nowhere, addictions that numb what words never expressed. Therapy Bro Summer means courage looks different now. It means the strongest thing a man can do isn't hiding his emotions. It's facing them. It's looking in the mirror and saying, I deserve to heal. I deserve to grow. I deserve to live free from the weight I've been carrying. Therapy isn't weakness. Healing isn't weakness. Vulnerability isn't weakness. They're all acts of courage. They're proof that you care enough about yourself and the people who love you to stop passing your pain forward. Because pain that goes unspoken doesn't disappear, it leaks. It leaks into how you talk to your partner. It leaks into how patient you are with your kids. It leaks into how you lead, how you work, how you see yourself. But when you choose courage, when you choose to step into healing, journaling, breath work, and conversations that scare you, you break the cycle. You take the weight that crushed you and you turn it into wisdom. You take the anger that controlled you and you turn it into compassion. You take the silence that isolated you and you turn it into connection. And this isn't just for men. It's for anyone who's ever been told they have to hold it together no matter what. Emotional courage is human courage, and it's contagious. When one person stands up and says, I'm ready to face what I've been running from, it gives others permission to do the same. Here's what it looks like in real life. It looks like having the hard conversation you've been avoiding. It looks like admitting to a friend, I'm struggling right now. It looks like calling the therapist or joining a group, even if you don't know what to say when you sit down. It looks like choosing growth over pride, freedom over fear. Imagine what would happen if more men lived this way. Imagine locker rooms where athletes could talk about not just the game, but about life. Imagine boardrooms where leaders weren't afraid to be honest about pressure. Imagine families where fathers could tell their sons, it's okay to feel, it's okay to talk. It's okay to heal. That's what Therapy Bro Summer is really about. Not a season or a hashtag, but a movement. A new standard for strength. A new identity for masculinity. One that says, yes, I'm strong. Yes, I can fight. Yes, I can protect. But I'm also brave enough to sit down with my emotions. Brave enough to ask for help. And brave enough to grow. Masculinity without emotional courage is a mask. But masculinity with emotional courage, that's freedom, that's leadership, that's love in its strongest form.